Olympus Pen series is a cult status, well-loved series. For a long time, I didn't know what made them a camera that so many people love to use. But I get it. The Pen series, especially the F, mix a clean design aesthetic with nice functionality and image quality that truly surprised me. I've cropped 35mm frames to the size of a half-frame image. Usually the results are subpar. The issue there isn't the film, but the lenses. 35mm lenses are designed to create images that will use most or all of the frame. Cutting that in half effectively results in a halving of the lens's resolution. Flaws like diffraction and blurring appear readily at that point. The Pen series lenses were engineered to print a half-frame image. These lenses had to perform well so that the images would hold up against full-frame cameras' images. Now, Olympus always made great lenses, but the Pen lenses, they were a special breed. The short flange focal distance reduced diffraction and allowed for increased image sharpness across the aperture range. The lenses test at very high line per millimeter ratings. Those two factors make these lenses spectacular performers that almost can't be used today unless you like film photography. But on the format, shooting 72 frames instead of 36 is a much different experience. It's like accepting a dare to try to fill up a 64 gig SD card with a 6 megapixel DSLR. It takes forever. Each roll of film just keeps going on and on. I kept finding myself thinking I was done, and I was only at frame 40. That said, the half-frame format has a significant advantage. For anyone learning photography, this format cuts your film cost in half. If you're on a budget, this format cuts your film cost in half. If you're in a photo class, though, not all schools have the equipment needed to print half-frame negatives. But if you scan your film, you can save a good deal of money with the Pen or Pen F specifically compared to a full-frame SLR. Moving past the Pen format, let's talk specifically about the Pen F. Let's talk aesthetics. Look at this camera. Just take a few moments to appreciate it, its design, its appearance. Bear in mind, this is an SLR. This SLR is the size of a rangefinder. There's no SLR bump, just lines that invoke the beauty of a DC-7 or El Capitan's Dawn Wall or Pierre L'Enfant city plan. Empirically, this is one of the most attractive cameras of its era, if not the entire film camera era. The shape, the covering's texture, the placement of each button and dial. This was not an accident. This was not a camera that some engineer slapped together based on what was going on inside of it. This camera paired design with creative and thoughtful engineering to deliver a beautifully crafted skin around insides that overcame some very difficult engineering challenges. This camera only works as a half-frame camera. This camera could not be upscaled to make a full-frame camera. The shutter mechanism works only on images in this frame size. Olympus engineered a rotary shutter, but not the way that Kodak used to make them for their box cameras. Kodak put them at the front, in front of or behind the lens. Olympus put them on the focal plane. The Pen rotary shutter spins at different speeds based on the shutter speed. So why can't this be upscaled? Well, this is rough math on my part, but the shutter would need to be at least 8 times as large as it is now in order for it to work for an entire full-frame 35mm image. Bear in mind, the entire frame in a Pen camera is exposed to light at any given time at every shutter speed. So upscaling it would mean that the opening in the shutter would have to be larger than a 35mm frame. If this were a full-frame 35mm film camera, the shutter would need a camera housing about the size of a 4x5 press camera to support it for 35mm images. The prism pathway winds around the camera's internals like a gold seen through quartz. The prism path starts at the mirror, bends 45 degrees, then 45 more, then 90, then 90, then 90 again. The prism path has more bends than an advanced yoga class. If you're an engineer or an engineering student, this camera is worth studying. Olympus used good engineering practices and clever designs to overcome very difficult problems in this camera's construction. So what about using it? That's where this camera truly shines. It's easy to appreciate the hours and years of thought behind its design and engineering. It's easy to admire this camera's beauty. It's easy to marvel at the size. It's easy to enjoy the photos these cameras deliver. It's easy to extend your creative vision through this camera's lens. No camera can be considered a classic, an artistic tool, and an extension of the photographer without making the photographic process easy. For everything I can say about the design and engineering greatness in this camera, here is the highest praise of it that I can share. It uses well and feels like a seamless extension of the photographer's mind. Less than 2 rolls into this camera, and an experienced photographer can stop thinking about how to use it and just shoot.